Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Ladies and gentlemen, the motion picture you're about to see contains scenes so terrifying, the public must be given grave warning.
Hello and good evening, and welcome to the Bloody Binge Movie Podcast. I am your host, Sewer Dweller, and joining me once again, we have Friday.
Hi. Am I the only one that dances to the song while it's playing?
Maybe. I'm not much of a dancer.
That's
the
okay.
thing, like when filming the TikTok videos for Hell's Dungeon and that, they're like, well, we need to dance to this song. There's about 3 other people over there that can dance to this song. I'm not a dancer. I don't dance. I can't dance.
That's okay. We still love you.
I look at it like this. I'm not only am I old, but I'm fat and white and I don't dance. But welcome everybody to the Bloody Binge Movie Podcast. Today we have Stevie Elliott with us. Hello.
Mwah. Love you, sissy.
Today we are going all the way to Thailand for our movie this week as we watched Killer Karaoke, aka Premika. This movie, we'll talk about it a little more here on the second half, of course. I'll tell you right now, it shows why I really do enjoy Asian horror, especially Asian slasher movies.
Yay!
Yeah, it was definitely a trip. But not to give anything away. We'll wait till the second half of that when we do the deep dive of the movie. So first, as usual, we're going to dive into our haunt industry and horror movie news and probably some stupid news because there's, again, really not much haunt news. And I think the fire engine's about to go by, so you might hear some sirens. It's one of the bad things about living where I live off of a main road. I've literally got the main road 20 feet from my house, 20 feet from the windows that I'm podcasting in. So yeah. Let's see, where's my page now? But just give you a heads, we'll talk about this real quick. Just to give you a heads up, February starts next week, of course. We have a bunch of movies planned already. I'm actually already
That sucks.
I hope you guys are staying safe. It's a nice 42 degrees up here in Ohio today, so it's actually finally melted the 12 inches of snow we've had. But we have the movies picked out all the way through March. The only thing I'm probably going to have to do is we're probably going to have to skip Shivers in March, only because I will be at the Horror Hound convention in Cincinnati the weekend of the 21st. So Shivers will probably have to be pushed back till April, and that's when we'll do Cryptids of Mississippi. Next month, of course, we are doing on Valentine's Day, and I think I'm probably gonna have to do that the night before. But on Valentine's Day, we are doing serial killing couples and lovers lane murders.
That sounds like fun.
Which I think it will be, because it might just only be one case, only because this is a case that I was really close to my heart back in the 80s and 90s growing up in Virginia. And it's a serial killer many people don't know about, the Colonial Parkway killer. And there's a lot of information back then. They never caught the guy. He's got 10 kills to his name. They've never caught him. But they did just recently, about 2 or 3, I want to say last year actually, they have some DNA evidence that may link one of the killings to a local fisherman. So we'll talk about that again in February on the 14th. But coming up next week, we have Sorceress from 1982. It's our cult movie for the month. Then we, of course, on the 14th, we have the serial killing couples and the lovers lanes. Basically, romantic serial killing. Let's call it romantic serial killing. How about that?
Sounds great to me.
If serial killing can be romantic. After that, we have a movie called Sweatshop from more recent times. And we're going to end the month celebrating Mardi Gras with Mardi Gras Massacre. Another older classic movie from the 80s. I think that's actually from the 70s, but it's a classic movie. And then come March, we have spring break in March. We have St. Patrick's Day. And we have just a bunch of stuff coming up on the podcast. Not to mention, I hope everybody who joined us last night for the wrestling podcast had fun. I know we had fun talking about wrestling and the Royal Rumble. So
yes, we did.
But without further ado, I think the wrestling's gonna be a weekly podcast. I think we're gonna do that once a week, as long as we have time. As long as I have me, Raz, and Michelle or Matt have time, because Matt was supposed to join us too last night, and I guess he just forgot. So we're gonna start by going to Universal Studios in Orlando, because they have already announced the opening dates for Halloween Horror Nights. We are looking even earlier than last year. Last year they started on Universal or Halloween Horror Nights in Florida started on the 30th last year. On the 29th, they did a special preview of Horror Nights for anybody who wanted to pay $300 to go. This year, I don't see anything about it here, but Universal Studios Orlando's Halloween Horror Nights will return August 29th through November 2nd. This continues the trend of theme park Halloween events, extended Halloween season from August through November. A lot of haunted houses do that as well. Just because Halloween's in the middle of the week sometimes, and if Halloween's on a Wednesday, why not get that extra weekend in?
Very true.
That it's more revenue for the haunt, more money for the building and stuff like that. Plus, you can have special events like what we do. We do Chaos Night, where you walk through the haunt backwards, and then we do Blackout Night, where, of course, every haunt does a Blackout Night almost, where you just walk through with either a flashlight or we give you a glow stick. And then through our 3D section, you get a little mini blacklight flashlight.
That one Blackout Night was legendary, even though it was improvised. That was epic.
Yeah, it was. It was fun. It was an interesting night that night. Because the funny thing is, like, we had some lights, but it was like the emergency lights from the exit sign, the fire exit signs. The second we were about, like, I had a little bit of light in my area. That's like, I don't know if you've seen my picture on Facebook where I'm taking a picture of my silhouette kind of, and it almost had a very Jack the Ripper feel to it.
It
Well,
was great.
that light went out right, like literally 2 or 3 minutes before we started. So I didn't know who we had coming through, how many we had coming through, or anything like that. I just we had to improvise, you know. And that's one of the fun parts of haunting is improvising. But so how Universal, Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando will be starting on August 29th. I would expect them to do another preview night probably on the 28th for another $300 to $400. Only because there are a lot of travel bloggers and Disney bloggers and all these YouTubers down there that will pay that money to go the night before, so they have their content ready. But other than that, I can't imagine anybody paying $300 to $400 just to go to Universal Studios. But Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood will run September 4th through the 2nd of November. Knott's Scary Farm in Buena Park, California will run the 18th of September through the 1st of November. Funny thing about Knott's Scary Farm that I don't think a lot of people realize is they're actually the first ones they were the first theme park to do a haunted attraction or a Halloween event. Knott's Scary Farm basically originated it, and then everybody else, took the ball and ran with it.
That is cool.
Yeah, and then the Oogie Boogie Bash at Disney California Adventure will run the 17th of August through the 31st of October. Walt Disney World has not yet announced dates for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. So getting ready, getting geared up for that. Always looking forward to the videos from Orlando and seeing what the big thing was. Megan has been the big thing the past 2 years. Everybody always, like the year before last, what is it, 2022? No, 23. The big TikTok thing was to go find the Megan Horde, where they did this dance before they took before they lined up and took pictures with everybody and filmed the dance. Last year, they did this big Bloomhouse thing where they had a bunch of Bloomhouse. I'm probably saying his name right. It probably is Blumhouse, but they put a bunch of his characters in an area, and then you could walk up to Megan and ask her if she'd dance with you, and then she would do the dance from last year or the dance from the movie. So, well, it's always interesting to see. Like the big thing this year too, and this is something I meant to talk about this in December, but like at Disney World in December, they have that parade. They have the Christmas parade. There was an elf, Tally. His name was Tally the elf, and people loved this elf because he would basically, when there was pauses in the parade, he would go and interact with the crowd and tell you if you're on the naughty list or the good list or the naughty list. And then they would, he would basically mess around with the crowd a little bit. People loved him. He was the big TikTok sensation. So the internet does what the internet always does and has to ruin fun things because people wanted to know who he really was. So they found out his name and stuff. He's been in a couple of smaller movies. Go ahead, Friday, if you need to.
Oh, no. I've caught something, so I was trying not to cough on mic.
Come on, you want to be like Raz last night with his walking pneumonia? You're muted.
The flu's going around. I can't help it. My husband caught it, nice. So therefore I get it.
Yeah, that's why I try to stay away from the kids. Like, you sick? Are you sick? Yeah, you stay over there if you're sick. But
unfortunately, getting away from my husband is hard when he's home.
Yeah.
Although, fortunately as well, it's hard. But, you get the idea.
Yes. But the thing about it is, and I don't know if anybody did it or not. If you go to Disney and like say your friend is in costume as you know a character at Disney World, if you call the character by their real name, Disney will immediately pull that character, fire that employee, and kick him out of the park. Disney doesn't play. Disney does not play with their immersion. So like it put him at risk because if somebody had yelled out his real name instead of Tally, Disney would have pulled him, fired him, and he wouldn't be able to make money because people can't just leave well enough alone, you know. So please, if you're going to Disney World and you see a character that you like, please don't dox them. Don't you don't need to know their real names. Like it's the same thing in the haunt industry. I'm not gonna get fired if somebody calls me by my real name, but I'm gonna fucking yell at you. We had a guy who used to work for us last year or a year before. I'm sorry, trans. She. I knew him before he went trans. That's why I always have the problem with the he she stuff. But she came in and started calling everybody by their name. And I just didn't acknowledge her when she called me by my name, and that I just did not acknowledge her. She went through everyone's scene calling their names and that, and it's like, dude, haunt etiquette 101. Don't call people by their real names. We don't care if you know them. Don't call people by their real names, especially if you're in a group of more. If you're in a group with people who don't know these people, you know.
One
don't
question.
Hmm?
If they call you by the wrong character name by accident because you've been moved and they've seen you as this character before, will that be a problem?
No, just not real names. You can't call us by our real names.
Alrighty, just wanted to put that out there.
It's like that thing. It's like that unwritten rule, that haunt etiquette. You know, when you're a haunter and you go through someone else's haunt, you don't cause issues. You don't talk shit. You know, because we get enough real customers coming through talking shit the entire night. You know, if you're a haunter, you know better. You know better.
I only asked because others, well, a lot of people may know you as the elevator guy, and then you change position as like, hey, it's the elevator guy, and then they go on. But yeah.
I got lucky because everybody knew me as the groundskeeper this year because they had to watch a video there was basically a video on loop of me right outside the door reading the rules. It's the only thing the only thing that goes against haunt etiquette is don't call us by our real names. You will get yelled at after the haunt, of course, but you will get yelled at. You know, it's like those unwritten rules of sports. Like in baseball, you're not supposed to, in football, you're not supposed to, you know, what do you call it? Like drive up the score, and that if in baseball, if you're ahead by so much, you're not supposed to steal bases in that.
Yes.
There's just unwritten rules, and haunt etiquette is basically if you're a haunter and you go to another haunt, if you would irritate you, if a customer did this, maybe don't do it at another haunt.
Good rule of thumb.
But getting back into the haunt industry news, I'm trying to see if there's anything really else. Trans World is coming up at the end of February, the February 27th through the 1st. If you haven't got your tickets yet, get them. I will say though, if you have not worked at a haunt, if you do not own a haunt, you might not be allowed in. I know it is a trade show, so they do try to keep it to to haunt professionals only, just because. But I think they've actually relaxed on that rule now that YouTube's around and people are going around filming all the new props and the new costumes and everything anyways. So I do believe they've relaxed on that rule just a little bit, but you might not be able to, because it used to be you were allowed to go, but you weren't allowed like on the trade room floor. You could still go to the seminars and things like that, but you weren't allowed on the trade room floor unless you had a pay stub from a haunt or your business license. So that's coming up. Let's see. We have a lot of Valentine's haunts starting to open up next week. We at Hell's Dungeon will be open on the 14th and 15th. And if you're feeling extra special, you want to take your lady out to an extra special night, we are doing a murder mystery dinner on the 15th. Right? You get basically for $60. I believe it's $60 per person, but I'm pretty sure they're doing a discount if you buy two. I think it's like $100 for a couple or something like that. But you also get the haunt included with the very nice Italian dinner that they are serving. Because I believe it's you get a choice between fettuccine Alfredo and spaghetti and meatballs. I know that they're bringing in this whole big cast to do the dinner show. These people are professionals. It won't be the haunt actors. It'll be actual professional actors. Not that we're not professional, but we got our own stuff we gotta memorize and get ready for. So definitely,
Makes
if
sense.
you're in the Dayton, Ohio area, come check us out. But we've gone through the list of haunts that are going to be open for Valentine's Day. So I think that's going to do it for the haunt news this week, only because there's like not much horror movie news, but there is some pretty big stuff. This came out yesterday, actually, during the wrestling show. They're filming Scream 7. And they're bringing a lot of the cast back. Like Courtney Cox is signed on to come back. Nev Campbell's coming back as Sidney Prescott. What if I told you Matthew Lillard is returning for Scream 7?
Interesting. That would be odd because I thought he died.
And it's hard movies. He died.
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
He got stabbed a bunch of times, and then he died on the floor technically. But it's a horror movie. It's Hollywood. They'll. Let me remind you, the guy that when they did the Saw movies, they shot him in the face in part 3, and he still lived for like 7 more movies. So.
Alrighty.
Yeah. So he's finally signed on. I know they've been talking about it. People have been wanting him for a while, but with Scott Foley joining the cast last week, I believe I've read elsewhere, because this story is basically making it seem like it's just a rumor. I've seen in a couple of places that he has actually signed on to return. So we're getting yet another return for Scream 7. It's gonna be a big movie, especially with all the turmoil it had at the beginning. With like I think the screenwriter walked off, half the cast walked off. So yeah, that's the big news this week. That I'll probably have Twitter and social media buzzing, because everybody loves Matthew Lillard. Every time he goes to a convention, he has one of the longest lines.
That guy got range.
Oh, he does. He does. And he's like nice as hell too. Like he always makes time. He's one of the few like big main guests that they have that'll actually sit there and sign till the end of the day. A lot of these other folks will get up, walk around a little bit, which I get, because sitting in that room, like those rooms get so full of people, and it gets really stuffy in there, and just you got to take a break from the nerds at some point, So, like, I get it. But moving on to our next story, this actually excites me because one of my favorite movies growing up, one of the things I did growing up, everybody had their Saturday morning cartoons, of course. I watched them till I was a teenager. After that, Mystery Science Theater was my big thing, where I would it would air like on Saturday night, that I would wake up Saturday morning or Friday night, and I'd wake up Saturday. No, vice versa. I take it back. Air Saturday night on Comedy Central, and then I would wake up Sunday morning and watch the replay. Well, one of the other things I used to do, especially when I used to babysit a friend's kids. He wouldn't get back till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning because he was out at the bar. But I would stay up watching USA Up All Night. And that's where I think I developed my love for really, really shitty movies. The campier, the better, especially Trauma. They are doing a remake of The Toxic Avenger starring Peter Dinklage as the nerd. And they had problems because if they're gonna follow in the footsteps of Lloyd Kaufman and Trauma, it's got to have blood. It's got to be disgusting. It's got to have a lot of nudity. So they had problems getting it rated. They're going to go the Terrifier 4 route, and they're going to release it not rated. Or Terrifier 3 route and release it not rated. So now we actually have a summer release date for the Toxic Avenger remake. It will be hitting theaters on August 29th this year. It stars Peter Dinklage, Kevin Bacon, Elijah Wood, Jacob Tremblay, Julia Davis, and Taylor Page.
Interesting cast.
That is good. I think Elijah Wood's the villain, if I remember right.
He can do villain.
This is true. I get a lot of hate because I watching the Lord. I never read the books. I'll be the first. I never read the Lord of the Rings books. I've tried reading The Hobbit, and it's just I can't do it. Yeah, I get bored.
I wasn't given a choice either time I read it. It was great.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's what we had. I want to say I was in middle school when they had us read The Hobbit. But I love the movies. I love the Lord of the Ring movies. I haven't watched any of the Hobbit movies, but I love the Lord of the Ring movies. I don't like Frodo. I don't like the character. I think he's a bitch. Yes. To me, rewatching all 3 movies, I'm like, y'all got to sit here and celebrate Frodo. Sam's the real hero here.
Heck yeah.
Sam did everything. And Frodo just laid his little bitch ass down and cried.
Yes, he did.
But everybody goes for Frodo. Everybody wants to Frodo's the hero. No, and he's a bitch.
No, I go for Samwise. I go for the others. Especially the lovely dwarf elf duo. I love them.
Yes. But yeah, so we're getting August 29th, 2025. We get the Toxic Avenger remake. And I am excited for that. Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's any other news that isn't like trailers and stuff like that. Dark Match, if you want a review for Dark Match, Chris Jericho's new movie. Actually, I believe I know he at least directed it. Chris Jericho directed a horror movie about wrestling called Dark Match. I think it's on Screambox or Shudder, one of those. But if you want to read a review, they have one up on Fangoria. They also have a review up for Heart Eyes, that Valentine's Day horror that's getting ready to come out. That looks really good. Nice little Valentine's Day slasher movie.
I'm not sure what I think yet. I figure I'll find out when I watch it.
Yeah, and that's why I'm telling you. People want to go see what it is. By all means, I've seen the trailer. It actually does look good. I've not been a big fan of Chris Jericho's wrestling career as of late, but he's always fun in movies. I laughed a little bit in Jay and Silent Bob, the reboot, when he popped up as the Ku Klux Klan leader. That was pretty funny. Um, but here we go. We'll talk about some new horror movies coming out this week in theaters. It might not be in theaters everywhere, but these are coming out in theaters. We have a movie called Companion. Stars Sophie Thatcher from Yellow Jackets and Jack Quaid from Scream and The Boys in a science fiction thriller. And it looks like we're in for a twisted, bloody, and violent love story. I'm not going to read the review. I'm on Fangoria still, so they're giving reviews and that. I'm like, stop with the reviews. We have another movie called Presence from Steven Soderbergh. Is disturbing in an unexpected ways, and due to the nature of the film, there's nowhere else to look, nowhere to hide from it. Ghost stories always carry an innate sadness, and through his camera work and direction, Soderbergh evokes emotions in very interesting ways. Wolfman comes out. The reimagining of the Universal Monster Classic. We should be actually getting that new park in Universal soon. That the Dark Universe, and I want to see videos of that so bad because I hear I've seen the videos of the animatronics and they look amazing. A 9-foot Frankenstein's monster.
Ooh.
Yeah, like Universal, as much as Disney is probably the best with their animatronics and Imagineering and stuff, Universal is the best at creating an environment. I have not been to Universal since like 2008, maybe 2009, I think. As they had just started building Hogwarts and the first Harry Potter world. The last time I've gone, so it is something I need to do. It's on the list of places I need to go visit again. But like I said, last time we went to Orlando was because the oldest was going to be marching at Disney World, so we went to Disney. The youngest first time to Disney. It was only my second time, and we had fun. I told the wife I want to go back to Florida again this year. If we can't move there, I still want to go there for the warmth.
Don't blame you.
No, especially after this winter, these past couple of weeks. Yeah. Nosferatu is still moving along, still bringing in the money at movie theaters. And that appears to be it for the week. I know there's a lot more streaming this week. There's more Fear Street getting ready to come out. There's another Troll 2, it looks like. Let's go to this other website. Oh, here we go. Here's something that could be interesting. What do you know about Screamboat?
Nothing.
So when it first came out, I might not be able to put it on there. So when it first came out,
there's always share screen.
There is. But when it first came out, it was supposed to be a Steamboat Willie horror movie starring David Howard Thornton as Steamboat Willie. About a murderous mouse on an old steamboat. They had to change the name. That happened a lot this year, where they had all these movies getting ready to come out, and last year rather, once Disney lost their patent to Steamboat Willie and Peter Pan and all this stuff, and they had to change the name of a lot of movies, especially like the Sleeping Beauty one. They had to change the name of, and then I think Mousetrap, that's actually out on Netflix and a lot of other streaming places right now. They had to change the name of that one, as well as Screamboat, because Screamboat was titled Steamboat Willie, and basically it was either change the name or fight Disney's lawyers. And Disney has some very good lawyers.
Yes, it does.
But let me see if I can. But we have a picture of David Howard Thornton as Screamboat Willie. Let's share screen. this allow, and can you see it?
Yes, if we want it like full screen, we can also do this. That is wow.
Yeah. That's David Howard Thornton as Steamboat Willie.
That is frightening.
That it is. Well, David Howard Thornton he's always so good at everything he does. Like he's got it. He's like probably the best character actor in Hollywood right now. Next to maybe Doug Jones, who plays who does a lot of the screen acting, especially for like Guillermo del Toro and like Hellboy and a lot of his movies.
Mm-hmm.
And Pan's Labyrinth and that.
He's very good at those type of things. Yes. Morphing into new things.
So hold on, let's go back to this one. Speaking of David Howard Thornton, there is they've got the script for Terrifier 4.
Oh, brutal.
And it will be according to Damien Leone, Terrifier 4 will reveal Art the Clown's origin, an emotional and satisfying conclusion to the saga.
Oh, wow.
He wrote that on Instagram. I've personally never been so excited to see one of my own scripts translate to the screen like this one. I'm interested because I'm always like, well, what is art? Is art like supernatural? Is art, I think after 3, I don't know if you have watched 3 or not, cover your ears. I'm not going to reveal, I'm not going to spoil it or anything, but after watching 3, you kind of figure out that Art the Clown is some sort of supernatural being. Probably at part 2 you kind of figured it out too, but part 3 kind of acknowledges that he's probably a supernatural being.
That would make sense.
But the latest installment of the Slasher Saga, now available on digital and physical media, will stream on Screambox starting Valentine's Day. So if you have not seen Terrifier 3 yet, on Valentine's Day, it will be available on Screambox.
Brutal.
This one real quick. You might have to share the screen again. Because Fun.com has some Ghostbusters sneakers coming out.
Ooh.
And they look pretty cool. They have Ghostbuster ones. They have Slimer ones, almost like skate shoes. And Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. From the look of Slimer. Let's see. Slime-splattered high tops modeled after the Ghostbusters uniform with interchangeable embroidered name tags for Venkman, Stantz, Zedmore, and Spengler they're gonna run $50, about $49.99. Slimer will be green with envy over the sneakers modeled after the little Spud. Priced at $59.99. The low tops include full removable rubber food charms that are included. And then the Stay Puft shoes are something you don't see every day, priced at $49.99. The high tops feature a double-tongued design with the Marshmallow Man's face on the first flap and laces concealed under the sailor cap. So let's do this real quick. Let's do that again. We'll do the share screen. That one. There's the Venkman ones, the Ghostbuster ones. Can you guys see it?
Yes.
Okay. There's the Venkman ones, the Ghostbuster ones. You can change it between Venkman, basically all 4 of the Ghostbusters. There's the Slimer low tops that have like the food charms on them that look awesome. That looks great. And finally, Mr. Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think this will be cool. Might have to get some for the wife. The wife is a big Slimer fan. So, yep. We have that. Let me keep it on you guys for a minute because I also want... I saw it right here. Check this out. Because you guys just did... Oh, wait.
Yes.
You guys just did Mac and Me. Well, Mac and Me now has a new toy, a new figure. Can you guys see it?
Yes. I was just
The new
looking
Mac.
at it turning.
Yeah, so it's on sale today at noon from Bottleneck Gallery for $85. 6 inches. Hand-painted resin statue is limited to 125 and comes with a digital number certificate of authenticity. So let's stop that so you guys don't got to see that. But yeah, I thought that would be cool for you, cool to show you, because I know you guys just did Mac and Me on Monday.
Oh yeah, that is really awesome.
Yeah, never been the biggest fan of Mac and Me, but
it was one of his favorites, so we did it.
Yeah. So, but I think that's going to do it for the horror movie news, because that's a lot more video games and stuff that I'm just not familiar with. So how long have we been running for? We'll do a couple of, how about we do a couple of paranormal and stupid news stories that I already have up. So this one's interesting. The first one comes from Coast to Coast. A truck driver films a ghost child running down the road in Mexico. A chilling video from Mexico shows the moment when a truck driver encountered an eerie figure that some suspect was a ghost child. According to a local media report, the spooky scene unfolded earlier this month along a remote road in the state of Chihuahua. In the dashcam footage seen above, the truck comes upon a diminutive figure standing in the middle of the road of the darkened highway at what is said to have been around 3 a.m. The witching hour. The unexpected presence understandably startled the driver, who threw his vehicle into reverse as the small strangers ran towards him while unleashing a series of plaintive wails. Since being posted online, the video has gone viral on Mexican social media, with many noting that the encounter occurred in an area where other drivers have reported paranormal activity. As such, they posited the diminutive figure could have been a ghost child. The footage also sparked a debate among viewers, as some criticized the driver for not checking on the small stranger, since it could have been a youngster in distress, and that's a very good point. Let me tell you what, you guys want to watch the video?
That sounds good.
Now I gotta find it again. There it is. Not that one. There it is, right here. Here's the video.
Cool. That is a good.
That is kind of terrifying.
That
because
you could see that it was there and moving.
But the question is, was it a ghost or was it an actual child?
That is a question of itself, because also, why is the child in the middle of nowhere?
Chihuahua, I believe, is northern Mexico, almost near the American border. So with all the, the coyotes and people, trying to get to America, and that
would
could have been kidnapped and dropped off, could have been separated from his family. Like, there's so many other reasons, but I can't say. It could have been a trap too, that's another thing. They could have been somebody luring them to steal either their shipment or rob them, whatever. It's so many things. It could have been that, but it's definitely a video to. I put it in my believable file. In all honesty, And I'm normally, especially when I go ghost hunting, I'm a skeptic. Not that I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe everything is paranormal, like a lot of people do. One of the biggest things is orbs. When you see orbs in pictures and videos and stuff like that, I'm sorry, but 99.9% of the time, they're nothing. They're nothing more than like dust or insects or, dirt on the camera, something on the camera lens. Very rarely is it actually, in my experience, is it actually something. I get a lot of shit for that. But we'll go ahead and move on to our next story. I don't know if to put this, I think this might be silly news. Villagers expel traditional healer over witchcraft allegations. This is coming from the very remote country. I've never even heard of this country in Africa, Katanda. Residents of I'm gonna butcher some of these names. Please don't yell at me. Residents of Lawamalenge village in Katanda sub-county have banished a traditional healer, Burunji Sajabi, over allegations of practicing witchcraft. They are accusing him of disturbing the community with blood rituals and dark magic. The decision followed an emergency meeting chaired by Lawamalenge village chairman Lawrence Mulindwa, attended by local leaders and security officers from Katanda. The meeting addressed growing concerns that Sazabi was using charms and engaging in occult practices. According to Mulindwa, residents had repeatedly complained about mysterious blood being poured on roads, which they linked to Sazabi's activities. He had arrived in the village in April of last year, claiming to be the son of an elder named Spili, and stating that he had come to practice the traditional medicine. However, in his documents were later found to be forged, and he was initially expelled, only to return with support from Katanda police. Suspicions deepened when Spili's biological sons denied any relation to Sajabi, accusing him of impersonation to gain access to their father's land. Joseph Kamote, one of the sons, claimed that witchcraft-related incidents began 2 months after Sajabi's arrival. The head of traditional healers in Katanda, Kidawalime Musambwa, also disowned Sajabi, stating that he was not recognized among legitimate healers in the sub-county. When questioned, Sajabi insisted he was a trained healer but failed to produce valid certification. Documents he presented indicated he was actually from Kirawuza in Nyendo Mukungwe, Masaka City, further fueling distrust. As pressure mounted, village leaders and residents agreed to expel him. Upon arriving at his home, Sajabi initially denied possessing any witchcraft materials. However, after residents forced open a locked room, they discovered a disturbing collection of fresh blood, charms, calabashes, traditional cloths, animal skins, old coins, and other ritual objects. Villagers demanded that he reveal any hidden skulls, but he refused. Police intervened, arrested him, and confiscated the items for future investigation. Following his removal, relieved residents expressed hope that peace would return to the village after months of fear and anxiety. You want to hire a healer?
I think I'm doing just fine with my own herbs. Thank you.
It's just I'm not practicing witchcraft. Really, you got all this stuff in this room over here. That's not mine.
Yeah, no, I'll claim everything I got. I'm just no, that's not how it works.
Yeah. Well, let's go over to England real quick. For the BBC, if you live in England and you know where the Shrewsbury prison is, they are looking to fill a rather unusual vacancy. They want a ghost tour guide.
Ooh.
The former jail now operates as a tourist attraction and has previously been featured in TV dramas and celebrity reality show Banged Up. The role will see people lead evening tours around the site, helping the public investigate some of the paranormal activity. Mr. Campbell said the prison was home to many spirits, including a young boy he believes is from the Georgian times, and a male prisoner that pulls women's hair. They got those in every prison. I think they even got some of those some alive ones in some prisons.
Mm-hmm.
If you're scared of the dark, you're probably going to struggle a little bit with this job. One of the first spirits he says he saw was the Shadow Man, who appeared in the prisoner's A-wing. Fair warning, guys, if you see a Shadow Man, don't stand there. Leave immediately. Don't investigate. Shadow men are not good.
No. The only time I stayed is when I was asleep and it decided to bite me awake.
Nice. Yeah, I
wanted to wake up.
We had this house we lived in for 17 years growing up. It was a townhouse, and any room in that house I was fine in. I slept in every bed. We had 3 bedrooms, and the 2 smaller bedrooms were fine. But when I went into the main room, the master bedroom, we had this walk-in closet.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, but I always felt that there was something in that closet. And that's the only time in my life I ever woke up with the sleep paralysis. Never in either other room, just that room.
I can believe you.
Yes,
I've done it.
It was just that one room. Once we moved out of that house, I have been literally probably, you're almost talking almost 20 years now. I have not once had any kind of sleep paralysis or any other kind of experience or anything like that. But there was something about that closet. So yeah, but the one time I've seen a Shadow Man one time, and the thing is I couldn't tell. I've talked to Raz about this. I don't know if it was a Shadow Man. I can't say if it was a Shadow Man or if it was the ghost of the former owner of the property that I was working on. I was hanging out one night at a kennel. I worked at the kennel, worked on the farm, and above the kennel they had apartments. It's literally where the owner of the property raised his family until he started building up on the property, his house, his daughter's house, and then their granddaughter's house. This is years before they started doing the haunted hayride and everything. But I was hanging out upstairs one night with a friend of mine. We were probably watching wrestling or playing video games. Afterwards, I was supposed to walk across. Another one of my friends lived across the hall from him, and I was going to stay the night with her. She was not in that kind of way, but because she was a lesbian.
So you're using the couch of a friend.
Yes. I was going to stay the night with her. This way I could, because I had to work in the morning anyway, and this way I didn't have to go all the way home and just have to be back at like 5 a.m. So the only way to get to her apartment though was to walk out of the room, down the stairs into the kennel, out the doors, down a long line of runs, and then out the gate. Well, as I'm walking, I'm outside. I'm walking down the long path of runs. I feel like almost something was watching me. So I did the whole turnaround thing, and I saw a shadow of a man in a cowboy hat.
Could have been.
I booked it.
Don't you? They usually have more round hats if it's the Shadow Man.
This one was it was a cowboy hat. And like I said, that's the only reason I think it was the owner of the property. He had just passed away a couple of months beforehand, and that's just was one of them why I think it was the owner of the property instead of like anything ominous. But I still didn't wait around to find out. So continuing on with the story, it was basically just a shadow of a former male prisoner around 6 feet tall, who walks all the way along the block, the back of the landings, and just disappears into a cell, he said. It was one of those really weird things where I wasn't sure whether to be scared, excited, or relieved to see something. He added that the prison's C wing is the most haunted in the entire building. It doesn't matter who you are, how brave you are, whether you believe in ghosts or you don't believe in ghosts. When it's 3 o'clock in the morning and it is pitch black and you're the only person here, you walk faster down the landing than you would during the day. Well, hell yeah. Who wants to be in a dark prison at 3 o'clock in the freaking morning by themselves?
I've never done that before. There's always other people.
I mean, Zach Bagans maybe, but he's an idiot.
I agree on that one too.
As for people looking to fill the ghost tour guide vacancies, Mr. Campbell is looking for people with an interest in all things spooky. Obviously, as you would expect, they need to have a passion for the paranormal, and they need to not be scared of the dark.
Sounds like a good thing.
Yeah, that's the thing about Zach Bagans. That's one of the biggest reasons I don't like Zach Bagans is he always wants to put people by themselves in rooms and that. And rule number 1 of paranormal investigating, never stay by yourself. Never go by yourself. Always have somebody with you.
That is a good plan to use.
Yes.
That should be on the list of rules for your team, guys.
It should be. It's one of the first rules of paranormal investigating. You know, next to don't go where you're not wanted. Don't trespass.
Yeah.
You know, but a lot of ghost hunters will do that anyways. It's like, it'll be fine. We'll just sneak through this fence. Oh, it's an abandoned mall. We'll just break into the mall. No, that's still breaking and entering. That's still trespassing. That's still a crime. Get permission.
Best idea. Definitely the best idea.
Okay, so I'm interested in this one real quick. This will be our last one, then we'll go to break. So apparently in Sydney, Australia, do you know what a corpse plant is?
Yes, I know what a corpse plant is. Yes.
Or a corpse flower.
I know what the corpse flower is. That is a phrase I understand. Corpse plant. It took me a second to realize you were probably meaning the corpse flower.
Yes. So Australia has or actually first, Jen, why don't you explain to everybody what a corpse flower is?
It is, okay, if I am remembering carefully, right, it is this really tall flower, and it's beautiful. It's got these purple leaves and this green, like, stamen thing coming out the top. And it sort of points out up, and it's sort of cylindrical. But it smells like a rotting corpse.
Very good. So in Sydney, Australia, they have a corpse flower on display. Tall and pointed and smelly, the corpse flower is scientifically known as the Amorphophilus. I don't know. Titanium or Bunga Bangkai in Indonesia, where the plants are found in the Sumatran forest. But to fans of this specimen, she's Putricia. Basically, a combination of the words putrid and Patricia. Eagerly adopted by her followers who naturally call themselves putricians. Okay, now I just want to hit them.
Yeah.
For a week, she has graced a stately and gothic display in front of a purple curtain wreathed in mist from a humidifier at the Royal Sydney Botanical Garden. Her rise to fame has been rapid, with up to 20,000 admirers filing past for a moment in her increasingly pungent presence. No corpse flower has bloomed at the garden for 15 years. There are thought to only be 300 of the plants in the wild, and fewer than 1,000, including those in cultivation. The corpse flower only blooms for 7 to 10 years in its natural habitat. The fact that they open very rarely, so they flower rarely, is obviously something that puts them a little bit of a disadvantage in the wild, said garden spokesperson Sophie Daniel, who designed Putricia's kooky and funeral display. When they open, they have to hope that another flower is open nearby, because they can't self-pollinate. So, when I first thought of corpse flower, there you go. That's exactly what it looks like. When I first thought of corpse flower, I was thinking it was one of those flowers, kind of like, remember Dennis the Menace movie, where
Yes.
Mr. Wilson had this plant in his backyard, and he waited like 10 years for it to bloom, and was only going to bloom for a whole 3 seconds.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking a corpse flower was. And then I read the story, and no. Apparently it really, really does smell bad.
Extremely.
There's a couple of quick stories we can read over real quick, and then we'll take our break. This is on the shepherdexpress.com website, Milwaukee's alternative news source. So a Starbucks employee in Mobile, Alabama had to have stitches and rabies vaccinations on January 10th after a pet monkey jumped out of a car at the drive-thru window and into the restaurant, according to Lagniapi. You ever had that problem, Jen?
My grandmother did. My grandmother did not enjoy that at all. And she had to make Grandpa choose the monkey or me.
You know what? I need to do that. I need to do that with Jennifer and the ferrets. Because we just got this new ferret back in December. He's only about 4 or 5 months old. He's a biter.
Ooh.
Like our original ferret, the one that's still alive, one did pass away back in October. But Slinky is our original ferret. That's the first one I bought. And she bites my feet when I have socks on because she wants my sock. Nippy, we named him Nippy because he bites. So one of her favorite things to do is she loves to take these to the conventions and out and about. She loves people to gush over them and everything. I looked at her and told her, said, we're going to have problems with Nippy. His name alone. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the monkey ran up the employee's arm to her head and started biting her until a coworker grabbed it and threw it back out the window. Mobile Police Department Public Information Officer Blake Brown said the monkey's owner, Tammy Elaine Gardner, drove away from the restaurant before police arrived. The wounded employee said Gardner, who had another monkey in the car, later returned to the restaurant to check on her but wouldn't give her name. The owner of the animal could face charges, Brown said. The Starbucks location has banned Gardner and her monkeys from the drive-thru. She's welcome to come inside if she leaves them in the car. Oh, Lord.
People just don't get the monkeys. They are territorial. They will be awesome and wonderful. And then at some point, they will decide they don't like it anymore. And then everything changes.
You mean like the people who buy the Burmese python and then drive down to southern Florida to release it because it got too damn big?
Dude, no. We got snakes. We made sure they would not get past a certain size. Research your snakes, guys. Because it was small. It loved to sit right in my mother-in-law's cleavage. It'd get her out of tickets. It was perfect. Chaos was amazing. My family's just weird.
Oh, I've got stories, trust me. So, moving on to our next story. Jose Israel Tehran Jr. I'm pretty sure it's Israel or something. not sure, but 21, was taken into custody on January 19th in connection with a road rage incident in San Antonio. KSAT TV reported. In that confrontation, Taryn allegedly shot a man in a semi-truck while driving north on I-35. But it was Taryn's earlier criminal activity on December 30th that really had law enforcement's attention. He was accidentally added to a family group text string that day in which members were discussing a 9-month-old baby's upcoming baptism. Taryn replied to the text, "That's a nice Caucasian boy, how much you want?" He went on to ask, "Are you not interested in selling? I'm willing to start the bid at $500,000. The baby's father called Taryn, who explained that he purchases babies for their organs and could pay in cash or Bitcoin. Taryn told police he thought the group there was spam, but he was charged with the purchase of human and sale of human organs. If you don't know the people, don't try to play games. This is what happens, and this is what should happen to like all these YouTube scammers, or not scammers, but the pranksters. You know, shit. What happens when your shit backfires? That's just, especially in the current state of the country right now. Don't do that. Our next story takes us to Queensland, Australia, where a 3-year-old girl who was visiting Fraser Island in Queensland, Australia on January 17th was bitten by a dingo. ABC reported a lot of animals biting people this week. The Queensland Park and Wildlife Service said the girl was bitten on the back of a leg as her family strolled the beach. The family said they were regular visitors and had scanned the beach for dingoes, but dingoes are quick and it happens suddenly. I've also heard that dingoes are pretty vicious and pretty mean.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've heard they're kind of assholes. Said head ranger Linda Berendorf. Other people came to assist in fighting the dingo off using a kayak paddle. The toddler didn't go to the hospital and is expected to recover. I've always heard like dingoes were a problem, though. Like, I know a lot of people. I think the joke in Australia was that the dingoes would come steal the babies.
Probably.
All right, we got a couple more. We'll read. These are actually getting kind of funny, honestly, looking at them. A housekeeping crew on P&O Cruises Australia ship took passengers by surprise in December when they paraded by the ship's swimming pool wearing their all-white uniforms with pointy white hoods. FlightNews.com reported on January 22nd. I think I've seen this video, actually. Yep, I have. Because they were trying to like dress as upside-down snow cones. But can you take a guess what they looked like? They didn't look like upside-down snow cones. They didn't look like upside-down snow cones, no. Passengers were horrified and were quick to document the incident on social media. We were like, are we seeing this correctly? It was so bizarre, which I think that's literally the only logical reaction. Said one cruiser from Melbourne, Lynn Scribbins, communications director for the cruise line, said the housekeeping crew are from all over the world and had never heard of the Ku Klux Klan. They're limited with what resources they have on ships, she said, explaining that they make do with what they can find for costumes. P&O Cruises Australia issued an apology following the event, and the crew members were horrified.
Dude.
I can see that though, where people in like Indonesia don't know what the hell the Ku Klux Klan are.
I know. No, I'm just saying the fact that I was saying no to the whole idea. For like those from our area, we know what it looks like and what we see it as, and then to have a whole nother be in a whole nother country and know nothing about this, and your improvised costume like we do here totally goes wrong.
Yeah. Well, this is alarming. A plastic surgeon in Taipei City, Taiwan, is being called the bravest man in Taiwan after he shared on social media that he had performed his own vasectomy. Oddity Central reported. Chen Wei-nong recorded the surgery for educational purposes and presented the 11 steps necessary to complete the procedure. You couldn't just find a volunteer? It was a strange feeling to touch and suture my own urethra, he wrote. He reassured followers that the surgery was performed outside of working hours, by the way, and under the supervision of a urologist. Why not let the urologist do it? And while he experienced some discomfort following the vasectomy, he was fine the next day. I have nothing to say.
Okay, guys. I have seen people remove different things that have grown on their body from inside their body. This one guy, lipoma. He had a lipoma on his leg, and he just drank a whole entire pot of coffee and cut it out. Guys, please leave it to the medical professional. You never know if you're going to hit the wrong artery. You never know if you're going to bleed out. You never know if you just cut the wrong thing and everything goes wrong.
Well, this guy is a medical professional. He's a doctor.
I know, but this thing of me just randomly looking up random things on the internet and finding people doing surgery on themselves because they saw it on a YouTube video. Yeah. I just want to put that out there that he is a doctor and he did it to himself. Please, guys, he at least had medical knowledge. We do. I am a CNA. I have some, not that far.
So if you need to, go to YouTube if you need to fix your car. If you got something easy to work on the car. If you need to fix an appliance, fix something around the house. That's a great way. A great use of YouTube. I will be the first person in the world to admit I know jack shit about cars.
And my daughter's using YouTube to make her own animatronics. She even said, "Hey, can we please call your friend to explain more?" And he happily got on the phone and explained some stuff and helped her find videos to help her do better.
Well, and that's the thing is, my wife was raised, her stepfather who raised her worked on semi-trucks for a living. He was a diesel mechanic. Our oldest son is going to school to be a diesel mechanic because of him.
Epic.
She is a tomboy, was a tomboy growing up. She was one of the type of people that would rather spend all her day, all hours of the day in the barn working on trucks and working on cars with him than she would inside playing with Barbie dolls. So Makes she sense. Knows how to do a lot of that stuff that I don't. I can do basic stuff on a car. I can change a tire. I can change a battery. If I need an oil change, I'm going to my kid, my oldest,
Epic.
But when it comes to stuff like, the brakes, she knows how to change the brakes on the car. But we had my thermostat. Well, actually, my engine ended up blowing, but we thought it was a thermostat. She brought up a YouTube video and literally changed the thermostat in the car just via a YouTube video.
And we have fixed the door on our van with just the YouTube video.
Yeah. I've done it. I've done the same thing too, where I'm just like, "Uh-oh, this is broken. Where's the YouTube video? Let me see if I can fix this." But guys, the one thing I don't look up a YouTube video for? How to circumcise myself. Like no, that's
I really hope you go to a doctor for that, because I went to a doctor to get spayed myself, so
no, it's fine. It's fine.
I don't want to go through 7 layers to circumcise myself. That's 7 layers.
He had a urologist in the room. It was fine. All right, guys, we're a little over an hour. We're going to go ahead and take our break real quick. And when we come back, we're going to Thailand. We're going to talk Premika and Killer Karaoke. See you guys in a couple of minutes.
Greetings and shabibans. We are the Retro Reductopus Cephala Podcast, a long-form bi-weekly show that celebrates all the things that made growing up awesome.
Yeah, that sounds good, but I don't know what all those words mean.
I think what Parasite Steve's trying to say is that on Retro Reductopus, we explore a range of retro goodness, from toys, video games, and movies, to cartoons, and even snacks and school lunches.
Oh.
And we do it all with a positive spin, a slew of killer guests, and some very adult language.
And you know what else is cool?
No.
This crazy show is part of the Door King Podcast Network with new episodes every Tentacle Tuesday.
What's that?
And if waiting 2 weeks for a new episode gives you a sad, know that we drop bonus episodes all the time, like the off-format Crow's Nest and an interview series we call The Brig.
You can listen to Retro Octopus on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any app that's cool enough to carry the only show that celebrates all the things that make growing up awesome.
And we're back.
Hello, my friends.
Welcome, everybody, back to the Bloody Binge Movie Podcast. Today, we are watching Premika, or as it's known here in America and on Tubi as Killer Karaoke.
There's a reason for that. If you actually search Premika, you're going to end up with a film from India.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about Diwali and other beautiful things, and it is so not this.
No.
But it's a beautiful movie.
So, going to their IMDb page, there is not much information on this movie whatsoever. The guy who wrote and directed it this is the only thing he's wrote and directed. It came out in 2017. It's got an official Facebook page, but if I remember it, I think I clicked on it before, and it is in. Yep, the entire Facebook page is in Thai. I believe that's what they speak in Thailand. But let's see. Yeah, that's what I thought. Even the cast only has like 4 or 5, like it has 5 people listed in the cast, and there's clearly more than 5 people in the movie. So, and the one thing I will say when I'm going through this, doing the deep dive, I did not catch a lot of names. They really didn't tell us much information on a lot of the cast in this movie. So please bear with me while I try to keep it intact. I did not take, this week, because I had a lot going on in my personal life, I did not really take I didn't take my detailed notes that I normally do. So we're going to try to run through it like I did Igor and the Lunatics. So I'm going to do the best I can.
I'm happy to be here for whatever you have.
Yes. But basically the movie is about, let's see, the haunting spirit of an unknown girl who dwells in a karaoke machine named Premika after the clothing tag she wears. Well, we'll get into that. That's actually pretty funny. One night, someone accidentally switches on the karaoke machine that Premika possesses. Then she awakens from death and is ready to torment whoever sings incorrectly or out of tune. So yeah, basically we'll get to that here in a minute. Here in the movie, we'll get Premika's Karaoke is what they call it. We'll get to the rules of the game that you have to play to survive. So here we go. Jen, is there anything you wanted to add before we get started?
Guys, if you go in and watch it with us, you're going to see a bunch of fun visuals. Just remember, it's a horror slasher movie, but the visuals are fun. So I definitely recommend going back and watching it after we have our review thing here, and I hope you enjoyed as much as I did.
Now, there's two versions on Tubi. There is the version that is in Thai. Again, I think that's the language they speak in Thailand. I don't want to offend anybody on that, but and then there with English subtitles, and then there is an English dubbed version. I watched the English dubbed version. Usually, I would watch the original with the English subtitles, but for the show, to make it a little easier to get through it quicker, I did watch the dubbed version, and the voices are just really over the top. So the movie opens up on the Premika Hotel in Forest Hill. And then we just quickly zoom inside. You know, it's a lot of CGI going around, you know, the hotel and that. And then we go to the karaoke machine where we see there's a heart inside of it covered in cobwebs. And then we almost like immediately have another flashback to the guy basically holding a heart and says, "You like singing? You can stay in there and rot for eternity." And he throws the heart into the karaoke machine. Then we cut to a park. I guess this is supposed to be maybe modern day or still the flashback. Where the police, they're examining a body, and it's got a bunch. It's a young girl, and there's a bunch of missing body parts. The chief calls over Lieutenant Poom and Sergeant Pem. He tells them that he has urgent business he has to go attend to, and then tells them to report to him once they're back at the station. So the second the chief leaves, Sergeant Poom, who is the older, more veteran cop, waits for the boss, and he's pretty much like, "Hey guys, let's go back to the station now. Like let's go ahead and fuck off now." So the younger cop, Lieutenant Poom, basically is like, "Dude, we ain't found all the body parts yet." So Pem tells him, "You can't do everything by the rule book here," and I'm just sitting there like, "No, but I'm pretty sure you need to find the body parts to the dead body before you go back to the station." I'm pretty sure that's not even in the rule book.
I figure that's common sense.
He tells him that it isn't necessary to find every piece. What? Then Pem, I did like this line though. Pem tells him it's a corpse, not Legos. I laughed at that one. Poom also reminds dickhead Pem, I did write down that he was a dickhead, that they haven't even identified the girl yet. They don't know her name. Pem's like, all right, literally looks at the tag on her jacket and goes, "Yeah, her name's Premika now." And is basically like, "Now, can we fuck off back to the police station?" Like, dude, is it really that complicated to do your job?
For him, yes.
Like, he's like, "I'm bored. I don't want to look for body parts anymore." But she's missing quite a few. So that's the beginning. That's the opening, essentially the opening of the movie. How are you feeling so far, Jen?
I wanted to smack the cop in the head and tell him to shut up and do his job because he's being an asshole.
In any other context, I would agree, but it basically kind of starts off, you're like, okay, this is going to be a silly slapstick style horror comedy. Which I am a huge fan of horror comedy. I really am. One of my favorite horror movies is Army of Darkness.
Oh, I love that one so much. It was my favorite of the three.
So we now cut back to the grand opening of the Primova, and we see a group of VIPs who were invited there for the promotional campaign. Now, they don't tell us shit about these people. So again, bear with me. Because the first group we see is not really a group, but it's a couple. Apparently they're a newlywed couple. And this is the first trip they've taken since they got married. The female looks excited to be there. The guy's just like, fuck this. I want to go home. So they notice that the band, The Youth, is there. They're kind of like your K-pop. I don't know if it's necessarily a boy band or a rock band or whatever, but
I would think it's a boy band from the premise of one of the other conversations in the film.
See, that's the other conversation you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. I was almost like they weren't a boy band. I think they were. It's really hard. It's really hard to say, especially when they do sing or later in the movie. It's like this doesn't really have any kind of. I'm sure if you're Thai, if you know that style of music, you'll have a better understanding of what style of music it is. I had no clue.
Me neither, to be honest.
Okay, so the sole official language of Thailand is Central Thai, which is Siamese, right?
Yes, that is what I found during research while we were talking.
That's fine. So I apologize. Like I said, I'm not well versed in that part of the world.
Me neither. But I want to learn.
This is true. The guy's like, who the hell, who's this band again? And the wife is like, well, they're The Youth. They're the hottest thing going right now. And that lead singer, Tim, is so handsome. And needless to say, that annoys the husband. Now, I did learn that their husband's name is Bird. As in the animal. Bird.
Mm-hmm.
He says he's allergic to celebrities, and every time he sees one, he gets a bad rash on his feet. Kind of silly. The wife says this is their first trip since their wedding. She reminds him this is the first trip since the wedding, and basically tells him to stop being a Debbie Downer. He's kind of being a douche. He's kind of being a little bit too much of a douche. We now cut over to two very bright women. I call them women. I cannot for the life of me remember their names. They're almost like you would expect influencers to kind of be there. I say bright because one's wearing pink, one's wearing yellow. They're half naked, The guy with them asks himself why nobody told him that The Youth is here. Well, the guy is a music producer by the name of Samkiat. The girl in the pink says if she had known that Tem would be here, the lead singer of The Youth, she would have worn something more raunchy. And then Samkiat says, if you go any more skimpy, you'd be butt naked. He's not necessarily wrong there, but he's also not really right because she is kind of wearing pants, at least. They're really short shorts, but they're pants. We cut to another guy, and again, I wrote down that they're really bad about giving names, but this is Joe. He's with a group of what I would believe are photographers. Again, they never say what this group is there for, who they are, why they're there, anything. No information whatsoever. But he starts gushing over Noe and Yam, who is the influencer girls. They don't tell us which one's which either, by the way. I wrote his buddy, but it's his boss that slaps him in the back of the head and tells him to keep it together. That is Krang. His name is Krang. Slaps him back of the head, tells him to keep it together. Then he turns and looks at the women, and he just starts drooling as well. Krem says that the reporters say Noe and Yam can sing with their tits. That made me laugh a little bit. Krangdon says that they aren't that sexy, and music just helps the mood. So he snaps his finger, and it's kind of like almost like a metal style music, a rock style music. So the girls act even more sexy, and of course we go back to Joe and Krang, and they have nosebleeds from staring and drooling at the women. Finally, we cut to hotel management. I think I may have skipped a part there with the two guys in the band going and. Let me go back to the movie. Hold on 1 second. I think I did skip a part. No, it hadn't happened yet. That's right. So we go to the hotel management. They welcome everybody, all that good stuff. The lady says that the resort brings the nature to you. I'm gonna tell you guys right now, the resort itself has really nothing to do with the movie at all. Like, we don't even see this chick again. One of the funny parts though is one of the guys in the band, I want to say it's the drummer, asks if the hotel is haunted, and the owner just loses his fucking shit. Like, he asks a question, and the owner's just like, "What did this little shithead say to me?" Here's a pro. No, shit face. He calls him a shit face. And he just loses his shit that the guy asks if the hotel is wrong, is haunted or not. Yells at him, and that he storms off. And the female that's there, I guess it's his assistant or something. She just looks and goes, "Don't worry about him. He's a communist." And everybody just goes, "Oh." And I'm just like, apparently in Thailand, communist means a completely different thing.
There was a lot of different things throughout this movie that I think we would get more if we were in Thailand, because they seem like jokes that they would understand better.
Which is understandable because it was made for them, It just happened to make its way across the pond, across the ocean to us, and we had the pleasure of watching.
That we did.
And let me get back here. Where are we? So yeah, he loses his shit. He gets in the car. He's got a nosebleed too now, I guess, from getting pissed off so much. So we go back inside, and the drummer and the bassist of the youth approach Somkyat, the music producer. I guess they had a run-in before where those two wanted to be in a boy band. And he told them, "No, we're not going to put you in a boy band. And how do I say this nicely? You're ugly. You are fugly. You are fuglier than fugly." And he just goes on this rant calling them ugly for like almost 2 minutes straight, finding different ways to call them ugly. And I thought it was hilarious. What'd you think of that part, Jen?
The freaking out over whether or not it's haunted was one of those, seriously? Over here, there's a lot of times where it is used to bring in more customers, and he just goes all spastic. And
he got so mad.
It's one of those scenes where it's like, why? And I guess, and I'm beginning to think nosebleeds in Thailand means just about the same things that it means in anime as well.
I'll say I've never actually stared. And I used to work. One of the haunts I used to work at was on the beach, watching women in bikinis walk by all day. And I can tell you right now, I never once got a nosebleed from staring at a woman.
I have, but she hit me in the face with a ball.
Well, that's a good reason to get.
I'm like,
but then moving on to the scene with the boy band. and him calling, just going, "You're fugly. You're fuglier than fugly. Look, do me a favor. Look to your right. Yeah, you're still fucking fugly." You there, Jen?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm
Oh,
just
sorry, I thought we
like,
froze.
nope, I'm here. I was looking at the thing and I'm like, our American Google is not helping at all with one of the research things I'm doing for this movie.
Yeah, I get the same thing when I'm trying to do research for Shivers and that. It's like, you're not helping me at all.
It's like, I know I have an idea of what it's supposed to mean, because it means an emotional overabundance of of apparently anger and lust. But I was looking to see if there was more things. But yeah. And I'm just getting medical.
Like I said, it could be. I mean, I get nosebleeds myself on random rare occasions, but it's usually just out of the blue, not because I'm staring at a woman or something like that. But what about the scene? Like I said, what about the scene where some Kiad is calling them fugly and telling them why he won't sign on to be K-pop or a boy band?
I definitely agree with what the two ladies said. Please take the roundabout on telling me what you think.
Yeah, basically, Noe and Yam basically just both go, do us a favor, if don't be so blunt with us. So we get a close up of the karaoke machine before we cut to the police station, and we have the chief sitting with Pem and Poom again, and they're trying to close the case of Premika. Pem wants to keep the case open. He wants to keep exploring, and Puma's like, dude, come on. That shit ain't gonna be solved. It's like, dude, why are you so worried? Why do you not care about this case? Like, this young girl was murdered and cut into pieces. And you're just like, it's Tuesday.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. Looking or reading stuff about serial killers and things like that, when it comes, like, all these serial killers that attacked, women of the night, sex workers, and things like that, people like that, the police stations have always historically been, it's just a hooker. Why are we putting all this effort in? It's just a hooker. And that's real life, that's real life. Where they're like, yeah, sure, we've got 3 dead people, but come on, they're hookers.
And that is a lot of why there's a whole lot of outrage at this case from us. It's like, it's not going to happen. And it's like, why?
Yeah, like, and they finally they decide to give Pem some more time, and Poom is just like, God damn it, I want to go home and eat my steak. So then we cut back to the hotel where Noe and what is their damn names?
Yam?
Noe and Yam, yes. Essentially, they walk around the corner. They find the karaoke machine. They plug it in. It kind of like shocks them a little bit. They unplug it immediately and walk away from it. But needless to say, the damage has already been done because the electricity has gotten all the way to the heart, and now the heart is beating. Once again, good imagery. It's CGI, but it works. It's very good animation, and it's really cool watching the light. The lightning go through the wires and stuff in the machine, and then just start Frankensteining the heart.
Oh yeah, I love the imagery in this movie. It was so much fun.
Yes. So they go back to their room. We go outside where Joe is walking around with Natalie. She is the attractive female photographer. Joe is kind of the pervert basically at the beginning who gets the nosebleed with Krang, staring at Noe and Yem. So they're taking pictures around what they need to do. They're taking their pictures and that. He helps Natalie up on a rock and then immediately takes a picture up her shirt. And it's like, you were a pervert before. Now you're just a fucking creep. He goes to look at the picture though, and it's a hallway, and then Premika pops up in the video, and then immediately, pulls away. Then we get the rest of the group shows up. Oh no, we go over to I can't remember this person's name. It's a female, but she's kind of like tomboyish, and she's almost like pretending to be like she's trying to pretend to be a guy.
Basically a trans male type of thing.
Yeah, to a point. Yeah, I don't know if she was like officially trans or not. I think she was pretending, like, not necessarily. I'm not trying to be offensive. I don't think she. It almost like came off as she was pretending to be a guy because they weren't going to hire another female for the crew or something like that. They never really said whether she was a lesbian or not or anything, or trans or. But she's taking pictures, and then a hand comes out of the ground and grabs her ankle. She starts screaming. The whole group comes running over, and they start, joking around with her. This is where we meet the twins. I call these two the bowl haircut twins.
I called them Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
They look just fucking like Tweedledee and Tweedledum, in all honesty. And I'm not gonna lie, I love these fucking guys.
Yeah, they're hilarious.
These guys made the movie. They were fucking hilarious. And, they start, she's like, a ghost has my foot. They look down, it's weeds. The hand has disappeared, and there's just a bunch of weeds wrapped around her foot. And they start calling her an idiot, or him an idiot. They start calling him an idiot and all that good stuff, saying basically that, dumbass, it's the middle of the day. Ghosts don't come out in the middle of the day. And then the twins start going, what about this ghost? What about this ghost? Well, that's after midnight. What about this ghost? Well, that ghost is trans, so they won't be ready till about 3 a.m. And that's the kind of silly shit you get with this movie. From Tweedledee and Tweedledum, or the bowl haircut twins.
How about we just call them T and D for the rest of the show?
We can do that. Yes. So we cut inside, and T and D are walking down a hallway. And they're talking, basically asking if one asks the other if he thinks that the hotel is haunted. The guy looks over, there's a light switch next to him, which the hallway itself is already not lit very well. So apparently the lights are on, though. Because he just goes, hey, you want to find out? All right. Turns the lights off, and then they see what I'm assuming is Premika at the end of the hall with an axe. They turn the lights back on, turn it off. She's still standing there. They do the turn it back on. At this fucking point, I'm not turning the lights back off. I am not turning the lights back off. They're going to stay on. Because in my mind, if they stay on, she can't hit me with that axe. So they do it a couple more times until Krang shows up and smacks him in the head. To ask what they're doing, all that good stuff. He turns the lights back on. He goes to walk away, and now Premika is standing kind of like further back behind them in the hall. Just standing with the axe. And again, it looks great. Very creepy. Especially for a movie that's got so much, slapstick in. Then we go to Noe and Yam in the bathroom wearing their robes. They're about to take a bath. They go to turn the bath water on, and blood comes out of the faucet, the sink. They freak out. They go downstairs. They get the guy. They go to the reception desk, and this guy has a comically huge mole. I'm talking like Fred Savage and Austin Powers, like, sized mole on his face. and they complain, that their water isn't working, that there's red gooey stuff coming out. They need a maintenance guy to go upstairs. He drops down, pops back up, and he's now the plumber. The girls decide to go to some Kiat's room to take a shower or to take their baths before they go to dinner. And he's going to go upstairs and fix their sink. Well, he doesn't necessarily fix the sink, does he, Jen?
No.
They do insult him, though. They call him Molly and shit. But we actually cut to some Kiat's room, and he's in this pink heart robe, brushing his teeth in that. And I'm trying to... Yeah, he gets blood on him, too. But he falls... Yeah, it's like... Yeah, because his toothbrush turns into a finger. So he falls backwards, and then Nomi and Yem are knocking on the door, asking, what's taking him so long, and basically ask him to take a shower. We then cut over to the newlywed couple's room, and dude becomes a bigger dickhead. He's drinking beer in the room. Apparently, he can't get it up. And she's asking him, what they could do, and he's looking at her. I guess her name is Moy, like Muay Thai. He walks out. He leaves. We cut over to the photographers, and Natalie and I can't remember her name. The tomboyish one. They're all trying to find, I guess, acceptable photos. T&D are over on their computers, just like losing their shit because they can't find anything that isn't blurry. When finally Crane calls him over, because in one of his pictures, there's a picture of Premika. And again, it's very well done. That picture looks great, with Premika just like kind of crouched down inside the bushes. So we cut over now to the maintenance guy, quote unquote, fixing their sink. But is he fixing their sink, Jen?
No.
He's putting a hidden camera in a flower vase.
The level of douchebaggery in this movie is my thing.
It is pretty funny. So he's doing that. Goes to take a piss, and then blood just like comes out of the toilet and hits him in the face. Yeah. And he looks down, and Premika's face is in the toilet. And it's like a brief shot. And it's really cool because especially when he turns around, Premika's legs are behind him, and she just like her torso drops from the top of the screen and slams down on the legs, looking fucking awesome. I know you want to talk about that real quick, Jen, because I know you were talking about it before we went live.
Dude, the in the multiple scenes, they have this great way of doing the scenes of Premika where she just drops down, and then her body her torso up just drops down on top of it. Mm-hmm. Or you just turn around and you see her legs just rocking back and forth. These scenes are great, and I can't remember for the life of me if this is one of the ones where she just comes up at him or she just disappears and reappears behind him.
No, but her legs are behind him, and then when he turns around, he sees the legs, and her torso drops from the ceiling.
Okay, so it drops from it is one of the ones because I had a distraction. We were doing spelling while I was watching the movie, and we were making words, so there were pieces I missed. So please forgive me, but he's doing so good. He's getting it, so I'm proud. And she just drops down, spins around, and like high with her
Yeah, no,
microphone.
she doesn't really spin around. She's
this
just
wasn't one of the ones where
there.
she spun
No,
around.
no, this isn't one of the one. This is one of those. And the stare that this actress has playing Premika is awesome. It is so creepy. Like I'm not gonna lie, even it's a creepy stare. And then she just stares at him. He starts screaming, and she just looks and goes, "Do you sing?" He's screaming, some more. He says, "Do you sing? Can you sing?" Swings the axe, and this dude's head fucking explodes off of his body in like a geyser of blood coming out of the neck. And it was awesome. Like the over the top amount of blood they used for this. And again, it's CGI, guys. But I don't know why this Thai movie can do CGI so much better than most American movies can. It looks so good.
I don't know, but they did so amazing.
So first kill, what are your thoughts?
Cinematically,
Holy moly gets
gorgeous.
Killed. Yes. It is. It really is. Especially even if if you get disgusted by gore, again, it's CGI blood, guys. It's not, it's not a static effect where you're seeing act like fake blood come out. No, this is just like computerized blood. But it just looks so awesome because there's no way the human body holds this much blood.
No.
We then cut to the two detectives. They're walking through, basically going to all these karaoke bars that have karaoke hosts. And Poom is still trying to talk Pam out of going to these places. He's like, "Look, I want to go the fuck home." And the thing about it is Pam even says, "Dude, if you want to go home, go ahead. I'm gonna keep going, And Poom's basically, because he's like, this is a teenage girl that went, that was murdered. Like, why do we not care about this? So Poom comes back and they decide to keep going. They were going to go to one more. Or Poom says he'll do one more. Because basically Pem goes, imagine if it's your daughter waiting, or you were waiting for your daughter to come home. How would you, and she never did. How would you feel? That kind of tugs at his heartstrings. And Poom finally cares. He points to one and says, "This looks suspicious. Let's go." So we cut back to the hotel, and it's the dinner party. The youth are playing, but again, they're singing this very slow song. Natalie tells Taupe that she's going to the bathroom. Taupe is the I'm gonna take your side on it. She might be trans. Honestly.
Because all through the thing, he's acting like a he, being talked to like a he, and then in the one moment where it counts, and he knows his voice will work, he's like, "I need you to be a female right now."
Yes. So she goes to the bathroom, and the T&D start giving Taupe shit because they're like, "You can't go to that bathroom." "Oh yeah, that's right, because I'm a guy." That's what I'm sitting there thinking. Well, I think I couldn't tell if she was trans or she was pretending, to be a guy for whatever reason, whether, but
I wasn't sure. I just know.
Yeah, it's very hard. They don't really come out and say what it is. I do think they eventually come out and admit that she's attracted to women, or he's attracted to women. They never say whether she's trans or just a lesbian,
Mhm.
So the T&D start giving Taupe shit. Natalie's in the bathroom, and she hears a noise, and I guess she checks the stalls. And when she opens one of the stalls, No, she walks over to the lights. She walks over to the lights. The light switch itself like gets turned on, like the lights in the bathroom get turned on, and she goes screaming. Once she runs out of the shot, guess who's there? Premika. Just with the stare and I love the lighting too. How they're like kind of lighting her up with a blue light from beneath and like almost like an ambiance of a green light as well. Like the lighting in this movie was so good too.
Oh yeah.
She runs back to the table. She's crying. Tem decides, they're not going to sing anymore. That basically this set's over. The two douchebags from earlier who were called Fugly, I call them the Fugly twins. Start giving shit to some Kiat, telling him he should come up here and sing. They tell him he should come up, and he's like, "No, I don't want to sing." They basically tell him that he needs to come up and twerk instead. The girls, and then Noe and Yam take this as their cue to twerk and to dance around a little bit because again, they really want to get in the pants of Tem. Then Bird starts speaking up. Bird is really drunk by this point. He tells basically the youth to play any lousy tune they have. Noe and Tam get mad, or Noe and Yam get mad. They say, basically, what's your problem? One of them, the pink one, says, a mouth like this, you should go suck your mama's tit. And I'm just like, damn. He tells them to mind their own business. And he tells them that tits aren't a get-out-of-jail-free card, And I know a lot of men that would disagree with that, but...
Yes.
Then he asks, are these really your tits, or is it boob job cancer? And I'm just like, damn. Now, if somebody said that to you, you would probably get pissed, correct, Friday?
Yes. Yes, I would.
So the girl in blue gets offended and just goes, what's wrong with my boobs?
I'm like, are my eye cups not pleasing?
He goes, I was just kidding. And then Ake, the guitar player for the youth, basically says, we need to stop playing. The drunk guy is getting out of control. Dude gets pissed that they call him drunk.
Yes.
Like, he just starts looking around like, who the fuck are you talking? Who the fuck is drunk? He goes up there to kind of hit him. He moves, and then Tem moves, and Bird hits the fucking floor. Because you know why? Because the asshole is drunk.
Yes, he is.
So the concierge, I'm assuming the guy in the pink, comes up and tells everyone, hey, we've had enough excitement for one day. Everybody go back to their room. Good night and all that good stuff. So we cut to Noe and Yam walking in the hallway. They open the door to their room, and Molly is standing there with a karaoke machine. They start giving him shit. They ask if it's a wart or a pearl T on his face. And they're basically like pissed off that he's in the room. He tells them to have some respect for ghosts. And they ask him, why did you bring this damn music box in the room? And he tells them to ask the lady themselves. And then it cuts to the hallway where Premika is walking down very, very slowly, dragging an axe. And it's creepy and awesome. And then finally they cut to the door. She's in the doorway. She kind of moves up really quickly and the door slams. And there's Premika staring. The women scream. And Premika does her whole...
Can you sing?
Can you sing? Read the instructions first. So what are the instructions? Well, the pink one gets the pink one gets kind of like a bug up her ass or something. Because she put her big girl panties on and she basically says, screw the instructions, bitch. I'm not singing. And essentially just gets her head cut off.
Mhm.
Again, great scene, CGI. But do we remember the rules for Premika karaoke? Premika karaoke.
There is a random song picked,
Mhm.
and you must stay on key. And if you are doing a duet, you must stay with your lyrics.
You don't sing, you die.
Oh yeah,
You
there's
sing
that
off,
one too.
yeah, you sing off key, you die. You sing the wrong lyrics, you die. And you have to score 80 or more. Because apparently, I guess in Thailand, you get a score for your karaoke song.
Yes.
And then it is a random song. So the first song she gets is Tiger. And Premika is standing there, kind of like force handing her the microphone. Because again, if you don't sing,
you die.
You're gonna get your fucking head cut off like the chick next to you did. She's crying hard, she starts kind of doing a sexy dance. And she starts singing, and about 4 lyrics in, the machine stops, goes, off key, die. And Premika kills her. Using the same axe, Premika stalks her. The girl hits the ground. She chops, and her hand goes flying into the window. And I love this because the hand is kind of like slowly crawling down the window, down the glass of the window. And again, it was awesome. Thoughts on those 2 kills? We have the Noe and Yen getting beat, one getting beheaded, and the other one having her arm cut off and probably getting chopped up a little bit.
I love the cinematic of it. I thought they were generally idiots, but
yes,
they definitely, in the end, their way of death was fun to watch.
This is true. It was like, I'm not gonna sing. What? There goes your head. Like, didn't even give her a chance to change her mind. It's like, all right, bitch. Choppy choppy. We go to like this big long scene with the youth, which really kind of was pointless. The only thing you really get out of it is that Tem is thinking about quitting the band. It's kind of obvious at this point. Tem is homosexual.
Mm-hmm.
I really expected him and the guitar player to kiss or something like that at this point. They did not, but I expected it because it was almost like kind of like like you wouldn't in a bonding scene where in a romantic comedy where the man and the woman start bonding a little bit over something.
And he kept looking at his lips.
Yeah. And so he gets mad. So then we cut over and all you see is this pink robe and an ass in the air with underwear. And of course, they quote unquote trick you because it's actually some Kiat. Because it does look like a female at first, but he stands up and it's like, oh, it's some Kiat. He's going to bed and there's a knock on the door, and then he answers the door, and basically the ghosts of Noe and Yam are at the door. And he, tells them, what did I tell you about trying to do your own makeup and all this stuff? And they have a question for him. They ask him why he didn't teach them to sing properly. And he says in the Thai music industry, no one gives a shit about the songs. They just want to, look at Batong. She got the voice of a buffalo giving birth. He lists a couple of people. and basically says they can't sing. You know, they just got to get up there, be hot, and shake your ass. He asks, you know, why would you two need to sing at all? And the one in the pink says, if you taught us properly, we wouldn't have died.
I love what her head does.
Yes, her head just falls off. Or like kind of almost falls off. It's almost like the nearly headless Nick in Harry Potter.
Yes.
And the girl in blue just goes, oh, no, hold on. Let me help you with that.
Be careful.
Yep, she grabs it. Let's welcome our host, Premika. And Premika just slides in behind him.
Yes.
Like it's almost exactly like that David Pumpkins thing from Saturday Night Live where he just slides in behind the two skeleton B-boys.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was almost like that, except she slides in slowly. And again, she's got the microphone and he's screaming, "Who are you?" She's like, you know, "Can you sing?" He doesn't know what the fuck's going on. He's like, "Sing what?" The rules for Premika Karaoke is up again. He takes the mic. The song is randomized. And he gets to sing. And they do this whole routine. He's got like this foam heart on his head. The girls, Noe and Yam, are dancing behind him. He's doing good. And then what happens?
He sings the wrong lyrics.
He sings the wrong lyrics because you don't lock an open door.
Yes.
And basically he drops to his knees and Premika just swings the axe and cuts this son of a bitch in half. Again, it looked awesome. Like, he just falls to his knees and chop. What are your thoughts on this kill? Yep. So, we may have lost Jen for a second.
Sorry about that. I didn't realize I was still mute after I coughed.
Oh, you're good. What did you think of that kill, of Song Ki-at's death?
I love how it was visual, like the 13 Ghosts. He just goes and splits.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how when they sing so far, certain things have changed while they're singing.
Yes. So Song Ki-at's dead. We go outside to the photographers where they're at a campfire, they're playing a game. Joe the creep is nowhere to be found. He's walking around the woods, basically being a horn dog. When Noe and Yam appear, and he literally just goes, "Oh, dude, I'm having a threesome tonight." And he's looking at their, he's looking at their breasts, he's looking at their ass, and that they does the whole puts his arm around both of them. And they start walking through the woods, and it's funny because he starts talking about his mic, and take a guess what he's actually talking about, guys.
His little friend that likes to stand at attention at the wrong times.
It's not an actual microphone. But he's making like, hey, I've got a microphone you two can play with. Ha, ha, ha. So he basically, he thinks they want to have sex right in the middle of the woods. So he goes, well, he asks them why they stop. And he's like, oh, we're doing this here? All right, let me just whip out my microphone. And then the karaoke machine appears. Look, and it basically now the Moley guy is now a DJ, a beheaded DJ, where he was holding his head with his left hand and like scratching records with his right, and he's announcing, "Welcome you who are doomed to Premika Karaoke." And Joe's just like, "What? With our host tonight, Premika." The karaoke machine falls from the sky. Then we do the whole thing again where the torso, this is the one you're talking about, where the torso drops She dropped, or the legs drop first, the torso drops, and then she just spins around on the torso.
It was gorgeous.
Yes.
So gorgeous.
He starts screaming, and she hands the microphone, and can you sing? And he's supposed to sing a song called Manly. He starts screaming, the girls are dancing to the music. And let me see. If I remember, I don't think anything happens to him yet.
I think we don't see.
Yeah. But yeah, because now we cut to a karaoke bar with the karaoke bar that the cops are at, and they're still looking around, asking questions and that. They talk to the owner, and basically it's one of those situations where the owner obviously knows more than he's telling. And he tells me, how their district's full of karaoke, but full of girls like this, adopted by sugar daddies, aka sex trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get to that a little bit later on. We cut back to the hotel. The drunk guy, Bird, is basically telling Moy they shouldn't have come here. The band sucks, all this stuff. Moy is looking off, crying, kind of. He asks her what's wrong. And basically, he asks her if she's been watching Korean dramas, like soap operas again. But she tells him that she saw their baby. Apparently, when they were teenagers, I guess they were their high school sweethearts. She got pregnant and aborted the child. And he's kind of being a dick about it. Like, she's obviously bothered by this, and he's being a major dick. Saying that I'm fucking sick of talking about this. If you'd have kept him, would you have finished school? And I would have been a teenage daddy. I don't think so. Basically just being this, like, dude, your wife, girlfriend, the woman you love is kind of upset about the fact that she got an abortion. Maybe be a little comforting. Don't be an asshole.
Especially when you were probably the one that made sure it happened.
And that's exactly what it looks like. We cut back outside to basically it's T&D, Natalie, Taupe, and Crane are the ones left outside. Natalie kind of does a ghost story and kind of scares T&D a little bit. Taupe sees Joe standing off to the side. They all, she points to Joe. He walks back into the woods slowly. They go following him, and then they end up at the karaoke machine. And of course, they're like, karaoke machine in the woods? What the fuck? Joe hasn't said a single word to them, and they're trying to get him to talk. Joe says, don't be scared when I tell you. And they're like, why would we be scared of you? He says, do you promise me? And you won't run away. And Joe's fucking head, like, kind of falls backwards off his head. More geyser of blood goes flowing. Everybody starts running. And we get a Scooby-Doo style chase between Joe and T&D.
It was hilarious.
I'm talking sound effects hiding behind, like the two fat guys hiding behind a skinny tree. Joe appearing above them, looking up, going, running away like Scooby-Doo and Shaggy again. Joe's chasing them. Meanwhile, the Krang, Taupe, and Natalie are running away. And they're basically screaming in tune to the song that is playing over it. And it is one of the funniest fucking things I've seen in this movie.
I love this sequence.
I mean, it's straight up Scooby-Doo. Like, sound effects and everything. Krang, Natalie, and Taupe get to this one section of woods where Krang is like, hold on, I'm a perfection. I'm perfect at this, because they can't really get through it. So he kind of limbos through it, and the girls are looking at him like, Taupe and Natalie are looking like, dude, like we could just climb through that. Why are we limboing? There might be a fire engine going by. No, ambulance. Now for some reason, T&D have chained themselves together, like by the neck, and I don't know why they did that.
He has an amulet on his necklace that is supposed to ward off spirits. So they had chained themselves together to ward off the spirits.
Okay, that makes more sense. So Tem finds them and is basically like, what the fuck is going on? Why are you guys, And basically they decide to go investigating what the hell's going on, why, what is weird about this hotel. Meanwhile, Krang, Natalie, and Taupe don't want to run anymore. And Krang talks about this giant pitcher of water that he's dying of thirst at.
A jar.
The jar of water. Taupe and Natalie are looking freaked out. He just looks up and goes, don't tell me. There's a jar of water behind me, isn't there?
Yep. You get to see it. It's a cultural joke, I'm betting. Mm-hmm. And we get to see it, and then it just goes poof. Here I am.
Yep. Covers them in clay, and then the karaoke machine is there, and Premika drops in.
Always beautiful.
Yes. She didn't really drop in this time, though. She just like pops up and does the Can You Sing? Krang has a flashback to being on it's called the Star Voice, and it's kind of like an America's Got Talent style show where he was singing and he was getting booed and heckled. He tells the girls, I've got this. And he actually sings very well. He starts singing the song. And you get a couple of flashbacks. The girls start dancing with him. Some like wavy like inflatable tube guys are behind him. It's a whole steal. He's dressed like Mario, kind of. He sings the song and he gets 100.
Yes.
So what does that do?
It goes on to a bonus round.
Yes, we should now. You would think, hey, he got over 80. Taupe kisses him. I thought that was funny. Taupe kisses him, and he's like, "What the fuck, dude?"
Yeah.
So he gets 100. So you think it's over. He gets to live. Nope. Bonus round. And this time, basically they get to sing another song, and they all start crying. What do you mean another song? What the fuck is wrong with you? Random song, and it's a duet. So he looks at Natalie and says, I know for a fact you can't fucking sing. So he tells Taupe that she has to sing with him. And then we get basically Taupe now being very feminine, dressed very femininely. And they sing the song together, and it's a good song, But it comes up and wrong duet. Die. I think he messed the lyrics up, if I remember right. I think Krang...
He sung hers and she sung his, and he blamed her.
Yeah. He even calls her a queer. I can't believe he messed up. And now Premika is having flashbacks. Premika is just standing there. She, oh no, Krang gets stabbed with the microphone. So Krang is now dead. Oh, the microphone stand. I'm sorry. He gets stabbed with the microphone stand. It looks like it comes right through his chest. Premika's still looking awesome, sitting on the karaoke machine as Krang dies. Cut back into the hotel, and it's the Fugly twins are walking up and down. And they just happen to walk onto some Kiat banging his head against the wall. They're basically like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? So they pick him up. They call him a dumbass. They pick him up and move him to a door instead of the wall. And then help him to keep banging his head on the door.
That's
he
nice.
just stands there staring at the door, and then they push his head, so he just now starts banging his head on the door instead of the wall. They start to walk away. They see him fall down. And they start calling him fugly and all, like everything he called them.
Yes.
And then they call him a fugly gaywad. So they walk away, and then all of a sudden, some Kiat just splits in half. Again, looks awesome.
Very.
So we cut down to the lobby, where Tim is looking for, basically he's looking for Molly because he was the guy running the counter. He can't find them. T&D come running. They found Moy. Moy can't find her husband. No, T&D had found some Kiat. That's right. They found some Kiat on the ground. Everybody goes and hides in the youth's room. So they're standing there looking it up, and they're trying to figure out still what's going on in the hotel. Meanwhile, we cut to Pem and Poom, the police officers, and now they're talking to basically a guy who is kind of almost like the head of the sex trafficking ring. Pem accuses them, says they have all this evidence. We didn't see any evidence get collected or anything like that. So
no.
The guy walks out of the room, and Poom looks over at Pem and goes, "What the fuck are you doing? We don't got no goddamn evidence." Dude comes back in with a gun and starts shooting at him. They start, they chase him. Of course, the veteran sends the rookie first. We now cut out to Bird, who is in the middle of the woods smoking a cigarette, and he sees this young boy. The boy walks away. Pem or not Pem. Bird kind of chases him a little bit. He kind of walks towards him. Then before he knows it, Bird is now in a prom suit almost, like a white suit with a red shirt. We see Molly's body without headless body behind him playing the guitar. The girls are dancing. And he has the microphone in his hand already. Premika's watching, and this is his favorite song. So he starts singing, but then we get a flashback of him playing the guitar and singing, and he's looking at who I believe is Moy. They kind of really don't say much about it. They're having, they're doing their thing. She's pregnant. They go to the abortion clinic, and he's still singing. And essentially, it's her having the abortion. Sorry, I'm trying to go through because I don't remember this part too much. You can kind of see like Premika is seeing the whole thing, the whole situation, kind of, and kind of getting irritated. So it cuts later to basically Moy looking very sad. He's smiling and singing the song the entire time.
Yes.
So Premika just walks up and cuts his foot off. And says that he was singing off key, which I don't think he was. Even he says, "Off key my ass, you cut off my foot. You've got a special guest invitation." And then they drop this body on a noose. And the girls are singing, "Can you remember? Do you remember?" So it's basically this girl that's hanging in a schoolgirl outfit, and their outfits that they wear. He's walking around with Moy, and I guess there's this other girl. who was in love with him, and she hangs herself. I think that, I mean, that's what I get from it. They don't really explain it or anything. Um,
You see her look away and
yeah,
she's hurt.
yeah, that this girl has killed herself, and he's
Um,
looking at it, upset. He comes back to realization, and the girl with the noose on is now walking towards him like a zombie. He tells her, "I didn't know you'd do something like that." And then Noe and Yam appear with a basically a handsaw and an axe. And I guess, she gets to pick which one she wants to kill him with. The girl who hung herself, number one or number two. She holds up her middle finger for number one. The girl, Noe and Yam, hold him down, and she just starts hacking off his arm with the bandsaw. That's a good thing, and it kind of adds a different element to the movie now. Now it's like there's a more serious element to why what she's doing in that. Almost as if the songs are meant to draw emotions or draw emotional memories forward, or like draw secrets forward.
oh yeah.
Because the whole song, it's Bird forcing Moy to get the abortion, and then or it could have been the other girl. Again, they really never say who got the abortion. I think they kind of like hinted that Moy is the one that got the abortion, but
by what I'm understanding, both of them, my thought would be they probably both ended up pregnant.
yes.
And he chose her, and the other one didn't want to deal with the repercussions of everything because of how heartbroken she was and having to figure out how to move forward. And this is where we are.
Which that makes a lot more sense than what I was thinking. But so they're walking. The group is now walking through the woods. The group of who's left, really. And then they find Bird's body, and Premika shows up, and it's like a whole big concert thing. There's like lights flashing around. The DJ is now, his head is now floating. Molly's head is now floating. Noe and Yam come around the corner, and basically they announce Premika. She comes sliding in again, and can you sing? Everybody else backs up. Yam's like, yeah, bring it on, bitch. He goes, I made it here by singing. Death by singing is just natural. He's not scared at all. So he takes the microphone and he starts singing his song, and he's back as a teenager. And this is essentially where we find out that Tem, I can't remember. I think it's Tem, is gay. And he's been living in the closet because he never wanted to admit it. By the end of the song, he's in drag and he's dancing on a swan. And
that's a beautiful scene, though.
It is. It's a really nice scene. I enjoyed it. Like I said, the whole thing, the whole bringing the memories in thing now is putting a different element. It's taken away from the silly slapstickness of the movie and adding a more kind of emotional, serious element. And it worked. It really worked.
And he's even got that model look down after the song. That was like gorgeous.
But I did have to say it was funny that his band is like, yeah, dude, we kind of knew already. We're like, it's about time you came out of the closet. He gets 100, so guess what? Bonus song time. And basically, Tem has found out. He's figured it out. He asks her, so songs for you must be used only to hurt people, right? pathetic. Bring it on. As many songs as you want. He says, I'll sing until the music cures your hate. So another random song called Life Debt. And he's singing. We cut to the cops. They're chasing down the sex ring leader who's driving towards the hotel. The cops are chasing him. We go and Tim is singing again, looking right at Premika. And now, all of a sudden, Premika turns from the ghost to human. Takes the microphone, and she starts singing. And it's a very emotional. It's kind of emotional. Like I said, it is kind of emotional because this girl was 15 years. Basically, you get the story of she's a 15-year-old girl whose parents sold her into sex trafficking almost, or her father did. And she's in this van, with a bunch of other girls. She's forced to have sex with the karaoke, the bar, the bar people at the karaoke. But she's singing this heartbreaking song, and she basically shows her getting killed, her getting chopped up, and her heart being put inside the karaoke machine. By the time the song's over, Premika, Tim, and the others are all in tears. Like it's definitely a great scene, and changes the tone of the movie to a point. What are your thoughts on that one?
I like how we finally find out why. I like how she changes by telling her story. She's able to find somebody who cares.
Yes.
And she can change into who she really is. Unfortunately, what happens next?
Yeah. So the song's over. Premika is still, Tim is in tears. Premika's crying. She's still in her human form when Tim finally, looks at her. Doesn't really finally, but he looks at her and tells her, so this is why you can't ever leave. And because you're looking for the tone deaf murderer. So essentially now we know Premika's story, where she was sold at 15 to sex traffickers, more than likely by her father, because she's showing an emotional moment with her mother where she's hugging her goodbye and that, and doesn't want to let go of her. They do this whole scene where she's being forced to be a karaoke host and going to stay with this guy named David, who can't sing worth a fucking lick. We'll get that whole story here in a second, because the whole story comes out in a moment. But then there's a gunshot, and it's the guy from it's the guy in the pink uniform yelling at him, "Nobody move." And it turns out that he is, in fact, I don't know if he's the murderer, but I know he's at least the guy that cut her up.
Mm-hmm.
He says it wasn't her, it was the boss. And he's got a shotgun aimed at the group. He says it wasn't him, it was the boss. Mr. Lee? Not Mr. Lee. No need to guess. And he basically tells them all to shut up and go ask the big guy himself. And again, points the gun at him. And all of a sudden, from behind, the headlights from the truck, from the boss's truck, is coming at him, or the sex trafficker boss is coming at him. He knocks Tim down, goes to shoot him, and Premika just fucking swings her axe and cuts dude in half. The sex trafficker runs up, goes, "Holy shit, what just happened?" Looks over, sees Premika, aims the gun at her. She cuts his hand off. He goes to run away, and she cuts him in half. But it's funny because his torso falls and his legs run about 3 or 4 more steps before they drop. And I thought that was pretty funny.
Oh, yeah. That was hilarious.
she disappears as the police show up. Which how are they that far behind?
That is a
These
good
are
question.
just terrible, just terrible cops. So we finally get the story where this guy named David is in a karaoke bar. He can't sing worth a lick. Like, he's terrible.
No.
And he's basically buying Premika. And he's singing in the karaoke bar. You see everybody in the song going, dude, he's way off key. She takes the microphone from him and sings in her, like, sings her song. Then it cuts to David calling and wants the karaoke girl ready, the feisty one. The guy, the concierge has her in the van dressed like, quote unquote, a Japanese schoolgirl. Brings him to the inn, and David basically tells her that he's gonna sing, and if you dare chime in, I'll beat you to death. So David's singing, and instead of chiming in, she starts laughing at him.
Yes.
He gets angry and starts beating Premika with the microphone. Premika is on the floor, bleeding out, like her head's bleeding. This motherfucker takes his pants off. So we're basically to assume that he just raped a potentially dead teenage girl.
Mm-hmm. That's what it looked like.
He basically tells the concierge to cut her up and disperse the body. And you see the concierge with the axe that she's carrying around as he cuts her up, drags the body off. David picks up the heart and puts it into the karaoke machine. He's the guy that puts it in the karaoke machine. David takes off his hat, his wig, and his mustache. And who is David?
The police chief.
David is the police chief. The police chief is the one that raped and murdered Premika. So he shows up in his Jeep. He goes to run away. Premika's in the backseat behind him and does the whole guess who over with his hands over her, with her hands over his eyes. He crashes the Jeep. He falls out, and Premika and the karaoke machine are in front of him. Can you sing? He, of course, can. He says he won't sing and that he can't. But Premika says she's not going to kill him because others have a debt against him as well. And about 10 other girls appear behind her. 10 other ghost girls. They approach, and basically, essentially rip the chief apart with their bare hands. We cut back to which is a great scene too, especially the lighting with the siren, like the police lights on her face and that. It just looks awesome.
Yes.
It cuts to the hotel where the police are basically pulling out all the dead bodies. Tim looks over and sees everybody from earlier. They're all dressed in white, kind of like a memory. Everybody's having dinner. And then it cuts back, and there's Premika sitting in a tree. Roll credits. That is Premika / Killer Karaoke. Again, there's not much else to talk about because there's only 5 people listed.
Yeah.
In the credits, in the cast and crew on IMDb, and everybody has only done like 1 or 2 things. There's no trivia or anything like that. The release dates, let's see. It was released December 28th, 2017 in Thailand, December 29th in Laos, February 2nd, 2018 in Cambodia. Indonesia got it on April 18th of 2018. Myanmar on April 19th. Austria, it was entered into the Slash Film Festival May 5th. France got it at the Cannes Market screening. Malaysia on May 10th. Switzerland on July 9th. Slovenia on July 13th. And finally, the United States, it was released at the New York Asian Film Festival on July 13th, 2018. There's official. Go ahead.
I'm not even finding a Wikipedia article about this, and sometimes I can find Wikipedia articles about foreign movies.
Yeah, there's really nothing. There's some articles, but I don't know if any of these, and none of these have anything. They're not in English, or they have nothing to do with the movie itself. So let's move on to our reviews. Friday, as the guest, I will let you go first.
I actually, dude, are we a 5 or 10 on this show? I can't remember.
I do 5.
Okay, since we're 5, in all actuality, I'd probably give this one a 5 out of 5 because I had so much fun watching it. I am definitely going to get Chaos to watch it with me later because I think he'll enjoy it just as much as I did.
Yeah. So what was your favorite part? What did you like about the movie in that?
My favorite parts, I absolutely love the part where the guy turned out to be able to sing.
Mm-hmm.
I love the different kill sequences. Those were so much fun.
Yes.
And how they were artistically done. That was beautiful. And how I think one of my favorite parts is how the characters changed outfits when they were singing. It went from they're just standing in the woods to they're having a show on stage. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
I think the swan out of all of them, that was gorgeous and my favorite sequence so far. The swan and I thought the Mario thing was cute, but the swan's my favorite out of those sequences.
Yes. Yeah, they went all out. I don't know. Again, there's no information on the movie, so I don't know what the budget was or anything. It's got to be pretty high with all the lighting. Like they did haunted house lighting with the different color, and I love when horror movies use different colored lighting, and not just let's make everything dark.
Oh yeah,
nothing was dark in this movie. Everything was bright. The kills were lit. You
could see. I like to see.
I'm normally not the biggest fan of CGI. I don't like CGI films. I don't like, especially the low budget ones. But this one worked. Everything worked with CGI. Again, it was ridiculous amount of blood. It still worked. The Scooby-Doo sequence was freaking awesome. That was hilarious. And it was literally like, and I'm not even joking. It's literally like the sound effects of when Scooby-Doo and Shaggy would get the hell out of town. It was those sound effects. And then they would like basically do the whole thing where they're running in different areas, and the two fat guys would running in different areas, and then Joe would run like he's chasing them. There was one part where they stopped needing some water. Joe hands them the water. They drink the water, hand it back to him. He takes a sip, and they're like, ah! And they start running again. Like that was great. The kills were great. I liked how it went from most of the movie is kind of slapstick horror comedy, and then it starts to get a little serious when they do Bird's death. When with the suicide, with the girl who committed suicide. Because then it goes from just her being out for revenge to now she's some kind of ghost that can read your mind and go, hey, do you remember these memories? Remember one of the most painful things in your life? Remember this. Or do you know those secrets? Let's tell everybody what your secret is.
Oh, yeah.
Like with Tem, it was that he was, that Tem was gay. reminding Bird that that he was kind of partially responsible for this girl killing herself. And so on and so forth, and then we finally get to Premika and we see her story, and it's a very sad story, and then the silliness comes back at the end, kind of, sort of, not like, majorly, but yeah, I can definitely, I don't really want to, I don't think it's a perfect movie, so I can't myself give it 5 stars, but I'm going to give it 4.9. I'm going to have a 4.9. Definitely. It is a fun movie. I think everybody needs to watch it and just have fun. It's just a great movie. The kills are awesome. The CGI actually looks great. And it's a reason, like I think we were talking about it earlier. There's a reason why I love Asian horror, especially this type of Asian horror. The silly, like the Japanese slasher movies, like Frankenstein Girl versus Lady Vampire. I can't remember what it was called, or I can't remember off the top of my head what it's called. But movies like that, like Dead Sushi that I did last year. This is the kind of stuff that I enjoy because it's just fun. It's different. And it definitely doesn't take itself seriously. But yeah, I'll give it 4.9 karaoke machines out of 5. It's right there. I don't think it's perfect. There's a couple of things I would have changed, but like there was a couple of kills that we didn't get to see that I think that would have been great to see. But other than that, it's a great movie. It's fun. Go watch it. It's on Tubi under Killer Karaoke. Like I said, you can either watch the Siamese version. I guess the Siamese language is their national language. The Siamese version with the English subtitles, or you can watch the English dubbed version. If you watch the English dubbed version, like I said earlier, the voices are over the top silly, especially for TND.
Very much so.
So Friday, where can we find you?
I am the ghost that plays with your hair in the middle of the night. You can also find me at Owlite Network. You can find me at Fake Horror Publishing, and you can find me at Friday with the Library of the Blue Box and Jennifer Elliott, the author page.
Very good. And do you have something coming up tonight?
I was going to do another reads, but with how bad I'm coughing, I don't think it'll be enjoyable for anybody.
Okay, so we'll see. Then we'll see you next time. We'll see you as Monday, right?
Yes, I'll be back Monday with Lust something. What was it called? Hold on a second.
It's Teen Lust.
Yeah, Teen Lust. Thank you. I appreciate you. And you do know you're welcome to join us, right?
I do. We'll see how Raw's going.
Okay. As long as you know you have a standing invitation, period.
I've watched the trailer for that movie, and I'm going to watch it. It actually looks like it could be good.
Okay.
So I will definitely be watching that. That's for Uncle Nero's Tomb of the Terrible on Monday.
Necro.
I'm sorry, Uncle Necro. Oh, good Lord, I'm blind.
It's okay.
Uncle Necro's Tomb of the Terrible on Monday. But guys, you can find me everywhere at the Bloody Binge Movie Podcast. You can find me on Facebook. We have 3 Facebook groups going. One for Bloody Binge, one for Hardcore Heels, and one for Shivers. You can find me on X under Bloody Binge Movie Podcast. I'm pretty active on there. You can also email me if you have any movie suggestions or advice for the show, or what you want to hear on the show, what you want to see in the show, at bloodybinge@gmail.com. I do believe I talked to Raz and Michelle, and I think we're going to maybe make Hardcore Heels a weekly thing now, where we're going to talk about the Rumble next week again, the results of the Rumble and that, which is tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. That's when the Rumble starts. I'm having ideas. I'm just trying to see how to implement them when it comes to Hardcore Heels.
And we are looking forward to finding out. If you haven't saw the I Made You a Belt.
I did. I think I responded to you last night.
No, it's one of those I made you a belt. I really do want to see what you do type of thing.
Yeah, we're definitely going to keep the Hardcore Heels going, whether it be talking about modern wrestling or talking about classic wrestling. It's gonna be a thing. It was just really hard after October trying to get everybody together.
Yeah.
Kind of, life gets a little chaotic sometime. Like most of the month of January, I was laid up either with my back from trying to shovel snow, and then 2 weeks ago for the weekend with a dislocated finger. Which I think is funny. They want me to go. They told me they wanted me to go to physical therapy, but the physical therapist has not called me to go to physical therapy. So we'll see how that goes. But
good luck. You may have
next
to call
week,
them.
well, I went to them after the doctor's appointment because both my doctor's appointments with the orthopedic surgeon have both been like, dude, why are you here? Are you being a pussy or something? What do you want us to do as a finger? And like they don't come out and say that, but it's kind of like I'm bothering. It kind of does seem like I'm bothering them, wasting their time with a pinky, you know. But I'm like, I don't go to the doctor ever, and they told me to come here and talk to you. I just want to know when I can take this stuff off and when I can bend my finger again, which I'm getting. I'm slowly but surely getting there. But next Friday you can join us for 1982's Sorceress. This movie is gonna be interesting. I have not seen this movie before. It's not one of the ones that would have been shown up on like Up All Night or something like that. But it's definitely in a movie I would have never been allowed to watch as a kid. But it's going to be fun. It's written by Jim Wynorski. And if you don't know who Jim Wynorski is, you're about to get an education. Because do you know who Jim Wynorski is?
I probably know his movies, but I may
You
not
do.
know who he is.
Jim Wynorski is well known in the B movie Skinamax level.
Oh.
Now,
Yeah.
he did do some classics before he started doing Skinamax level style movies. Because he did direct Chopping Mall, The Lost Empire, Fire from Below. Let me get back to his... But he's also got movies called like Scared Topless and Shark Babes.
Okay.
Gargoyle, he did. Like, he's done a lot of he's a B-movie king, let's put it that way. But he did, like, in the 80s and Ghoulies 4, Munchies, Strike Back, 976 Evil 2, Sorority House Massacre 2, The Return of Swamp Thing, Big Bad Mama 2, which I actually do like the Big Bad Mama movies. Those were fun to watch. Like I said, he directed Chopping Mall, Deathstalker 2. He's got tons and tons of movies. He is, like I said, a B-movie king. And he didn't direct Sorceress, but he did write Sorceress. And the funny thing about Jim Wynorski, too, is that he does go under many different names. He's got a few aliases. I can't remember them all, but he does have a few aliases that are also your Skinamax, any excuse to get boobs on screen movies. It is directed, though, by Jack Hill, who is really popular for doing a lot of blaxploitation films. You're talking like Foxy Brown, Coffee, The Big Dollhouse, just a lot of Pam Grier. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
And I'm not downplaying him at all. Pam Grier, I'm a big Coffee.
I love Pam Grier.
Great movies. Coffee's a great movie. Foxy Brown is a great movie. The Big Dollhouse, if you're a fan of women in prison movies, that's a fun movie to watch. But yeah, so that's what we're watching next week is Sorceress. The week after that, we should be doing serial killing couple or romantic serial killers. How about that? Romantic serial killers. Killers that either are serial killing couples or that kill people who go to make out. So there's a lot. Go ahead.
That is a very good way to. That is a great title. You should keep that for the episode.
Romantic serial killers.
Yes,
I think I will.
You will catch attention.
So we got all that coming up. We've also at the end of the month, like I said, we got Sweatshop coming up. Mardi Gras Massacre. moving into March, I know we've got American Ninja. We've got, I think for our spring break movie, it is going to be a movie called Bikini Spring Break. It'll be my first dive into kind of like the sexploitation style. It's more of a modern sexploitation too, style of filmmaking. It does star Robert Carradine though from Revenge of the Nerds.
Okay.
And I can't remember I had one other movie selected that I cannot for the life of me remember the title of now. Let me look. Let's see. Trying to get to my pictures. Unlucky Charms for our St. Patrick's Day special. We're doing Unlucky Charms. Full moon movie I have seen before. It's a full moon feature, so expect some cheesiness, expect some dolls and midgets. But guys, we've been going a very long time, actually. I did not expect Premika to take so long. But guys, we'll see you next week. Keep watching horror movies. And of course, be good to each other. Be nice to each other. Stop being mean. Stop being assholes. The world sucks enough.
Yes, it does.
But
let's be kind and watch horror movies together. That's like the best thing to do.
Yes. As always, keep watching horror movies. See you next week, guys.
Bye.